Every year at House & Home, we always include a story on planning the perfect kitchen. Things like where your fridge goes, your stove goes, and making a really high-functioning kitchen. But this year, we wanted to include a story in our lineup about the decorated kitchen. We think that a kitchen that has things like considerations of fabrics and details and all those sort of soulful items are what make a kitchen really special, and it was important to document that. A kitchen with the same attention to detail that you might find in your living room, for instance. A great example of a well-decorated kitchen, and one that's very unique, belongs to designer Stéphane Chamard. And I love this kitchen. It really made me stop when it came across my desk because I'd never seen anything like it. It had a very stylized quality. One of the standout items in this kitchen is actually the island, and it looks like a table. In fact, it is a table. When you think about it, this island is actually quite large for the scale of this kitchen, but because it's open underneath, it doesn't overwhelm the space. I love that the sink is dropped into it with the apron front, especially the scale of that sink. It's quite large too. There's lots of storage in the island. There's this great turned leg detail, which feels sort of whimsical and charming. Another hit of whimsy comes from these Scandinavian folk chairs that Stéphane's chosen to place around the island. They're completely unique again, and they kind of remind me of Heidi. And that again makes it really whimsical. Above the island is a series of lights. They're all like schoolhouse pendants, and they're all slightly different, but because they're all hung at a similar height, they work together. That felt like a very unique move, and Stéphane's done a great job with that. In terms of storage, there's one wall in the kitchen that's all white, and you see on this wall a series of shelves where Stéphane's displayed a lovely collection of white plates and glassware, all different kinds of things, but all unified by that same white. The tile is actually subway tile that's going full height. There's storage down below, so he's able to max out on that there as well. I think the highlight over here on this gorgeous vignette is the vintage scale, which just imbues this wall again with more charm. I felt like, oh, I'm in an old grocery store, and I think those kinds of moments that evoke a feeling or an emotion, those go a long way and are a really big part of decorating. So for a completely different feel and high contrast feel to that white wall, Stéphane's also created a black section of the kitchen where everything's been painted black. And what's cool about this is that the ovens and the stove have actually been hidden within the cabinetry, which is black. I think a lot of people like to really highlight the stove as the hub of the kitchen, but he's done a completely different kind of take by blending it out. Even the backsplash is black. It's like a brickwork that's been painted black. And even his utensils are black. It's again this great high contrast tension that's created between the two sides of the room. What's really interesting about this kitchen is that it is basically a black and white kitchen, which is a look that we've been seeing in kitchens for decades. It's a classic, but Stéphane's put his own unique spin on it, and it feels very artistic, slightly stylized, and kind of surreal to me. Lots of layers of textures and shapes and forms and how they interplay together, and a complete separation of that black and white palette. I think overall it's definitely one of the more unique decorated kitchens I've seen to date.